There were 23 different number one hit songs in 1964. That was by 11 different acts. Of course, this is the Billboard Hot 100 list. Only one of the Beatles hits made it on my top 10 list of the number one songs from the year 1964. Hi, I'm Phil Yale, and I compiled a list of my top 10 number one songs from that year. Now, 64, of course, that was a year after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in the United States. We were still feeling the hangover from that tragic event. I was in second grade. Do you remember your second grade teacher? I was also gifted that year with an AM transistor radio. Of course, my favorite songs from back then, well, they were influenced by my worldly experience of my life to date. In other words, not a lot of experience. 60 years later kind of changes my perspective on the songs that I think should be included in my top 10 list of the number one songs from 1964. Now, before I share my list of the top 10, let's answer the question you have. If the Beatles had 6 number one hits, why is there only one of the Beatles hits in my top 10? Overexposure, 60 years of it. Let's get started with my top 10 list, and here we go. Coming in at number 10, it's Mr. Lonely by Bobby Vinton. I wasn't lonely back when I was a kid. During my adult life, I kind of was from time to time. Coming in at number 9, it's Come See About Me by the Supremes. This one's grown on me. About a year ago, it wouldn't have been in my top 10. Coming in at number 8, Everybody Loves Somebody by Dean Martin. This one knocked the Beatles' Hard Day's Night off the number 1 pedestal. That's reason enough for me. Doo-Wah Diddy Diddy, that's by Manfred Mann. Did this song's appearance in the movie Stripes influence my thinking? It most certainly did. At number 6, it's Oh Pretty Woman. Oh Pretty Woman. It's Oh Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman, Pretty Women. Either way, Roy Orbison. It's a nerdy looking dude singing about pretty women walking down the street. Hey, that works for me. Again, my name is Phil Yale, and I'm sharing with you my top 10 number one hits from the year 1964. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Coming in at number 5 is one of the first singles I ever bought. It's by the Four Seasons called Rag Doll, followed by the only Beatles in my top 10 list. It's called I Want to Hold Your Hand. Coming in at number 3, A World Without Love. This was by Peter and Gordon. Why? It kind of sounds like the Beatles, but it ain't the Beatles. Number 2, I Get Around. Again, one of the first singles I purchased as a kid. And coming in at number 1, the classic of all classics. It's by the group called The Animals. The name of the song, House of the Rising Sun. And I'm curious if you've heard any of the versions where it substituted the lyrics and inserted the lyrics from Amazing Grace. There you have it, my top 10 number one hits from 1964. You don't like my picks? Tell me what yours are. Put it in the comments. Please subscribe, like, and join me again for another episode where I select the top 10 number one hits from a single year. And make sure to check out the other videos on my channel, including the 60s and 70s pop music trivia. That's with Trip Rogers. It's called Trippin' Up. Thanks for joining me on this episode of my top 10 number one hits.